Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, so that's done, and Roma continue to push for a top 4 place. But like we said, top 5 may well be enough for Champions League in Serie A. Let's move on to Inter, because we haven't spoken about them. And this was a tricky game against Udinese, because they actually went a goal behind. Patrick, you were commentating on this particular match, and I was I was listening as you were talking about the mix-up that led to Udinese's first goal. Obviously, Inter then get a penalty, and then Frattesi comes in with one of his glorious abilities to score a tap-in at the end of the game to seal the win and then set up this perfect narrative that they go to the derby and potentially win the second star, the Scudetto, at San Siro against Milan. And Patrick, 2 yellow cards for Lautaro Martinez and Pavard so that they would miss Cagliari, so that they are all available for Milan as well. So a little bit of a Mourinho-style tactics there too from Inter. What do you think? I mean, I don't want to say, do you think they're going to beat Milan? But
well, it's a tricky one. It's interesting, actually, because when I saw those 2 yellow cards and they were both late on, it was still 1-1, so there was a hint of desperation about Inter, because had they drawn, then everything would have been shelved in terms of those plans. But, Pavard and Lautaro, they were both quite cynical challenges. So I'm not sure whether it was a deliberate yellow card or not. I feel like if you are trying to get booked, you do it much earlier in the game, and then, the sort of suspension is done. And it's always a very difficult sort of balancing act there when you're broadcasting as to whether to allude to that without, outright accusing the players of cynicism or even cheating. Basically, I guess it's not cheating, is it? It's being cynical. But anyway, coming to the main story itself, I think it's a strange one, because if you think about it, the last time Inter won the Scudetto under Antonio Conte, the Scudetto was sealed with a game at the Mappe Stadium in Reggio Emilia as Atalanta failing to beat Sassuolo, and Inter were champions without playing. Milan go to Reggio Emilia next, which is the ground where they won the Scudetto 2 years ago. And if Milan were to lose to Sassuolo and then Inter beat Cagliari later that day, we might even have Inter as being champions before the derby. It's unexpected, but Sassuolo are Milan's bogey team. Sassuolo are scrapping for their lives. And we saw last night with Udinese, who are in a relegation battle, just how awkward these fixtures can be. I think I've been hearing a lot of talk about how easy, I know we'll get to Atalanta later on, but there's been a lot of talk about how easy Atalanta's running is because they're playing X, Y, and Z. But what you find is, unless you're up against those teams that are in mid-table, and there's a very small band of mid-table teams at the moment, maybe only Genoa, Monza, and Torino. Unless you're playing those, everyone else has something tangible to play for. So I think that Inter's home game against Cagliari won't be a formality, especially with Cagliari having beaten Atalanta. But it was great to see again, because Frattesi got his first Inter goal in the derby. That came in added time. He was the one who scored the winning goal against Verona on Epiphany. So that was Inter's first league game of 2024. They won 10 in a row from there. They've only dropped 2 points that game against Napoli. And it looked like they were going to drop more points. And what I loved was just the outpouring of emotion and the reaction to this goal. It felt like that they had done the hardest bit.
Arnautovic, back for Alexis Sanchez, Lautaro Martinez, and surely for Frattesi! Just like in January against Verona, Davide Frattesi comes up with a match-winning moment, and Inter are now within 2 wins of the Scudetto.
I think they believe it will be a formality. They'll beat Cagliari, and then they'll back themselves to beat Milan in yet another derby, having won 5 from 5 in 2023.
I thought the reaction to it was really interesting because I do think that as journalists, we've been guilty. I think I've been guilty of looking at this title and sort of treating it for a while as a foregone conclusion because they've been so far in front. And I do think it's a foregone conclusion. I do think they're going to win. But I think that in some ways, as viewers and as journalists, we can allow that to almost downgrade it in some way in our minds. Like, so it's, it's not such a big deal because they've been doing it for such a long time. And I think that celebration was a very sort of vivid visual reminder that they've worked really bloody hard for it. Like, it's not like that the fact that they've made it look easy doesn't mean that it's easy. The fact that they've made it look easy just is a reflection of how good they've been. And the fact that it's not perhaps the season that we believed they could have, where they could have gone far in the Champions League as well, doesn't make it actually less of a deal for them to win Serie A, because most of those players will win league titles. Either for some, it will be the first time they've ever won one. For some, it will be one of a very small handful of league titles they win in their career. Of course, there's always something bigger, right? There's always the World Cup. There's always the Champions League. But there is a limited window you have as a professional footballer to win big European domestic league titles. And these players have really earned it. So it was a great celebration, as Patrick says. I do need Frattesi to do this for Italy in the summer. Need him to be that super last minute game winner for us. Just putting that on record now. But yeah, it felt like another well-deserved moment of celebration for Inter. They've been better than this season. This wasn't their best ever performance, but that willingness to go to the end of games has been one of their traits domestically, at least.
Head to serieachronicles.com/Patreon now and subscribe to the Chronicles Tifosi Patreon membership with a free 7-day trial. Get early access to every full-length episode and voice note before the rest of the world. Plus, all episodes are 100% ad-free. And you get bonus Patreon-only exclusive episodes, video episodes, and behind-the-scenes extras. Also, be sure to join the new chat community in the Patreon app and chat with fellow subscribers.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Yeah, and we have to recognize the fact that we've seen this team provide the consistency that you require of champions. Çalhanoğlu has been brilliant for so much this season. It'll be very interesting for him to win the title against Milan. He's trying to keep a poker face about all of it. But it's also,
that would really be a moment. If he scores the goal that seals the
which is quite likely, given he takes penalties as well. You know, you can easily get a penalty in the derby. Can you imagine the celebrations? And his first Inter goal came in the derby as well.
Would you not take out a shin pad and just show it to Ibrahimovic? That's what I would do, right?
What would he have on it? What would he have on it? Would he have AI making the sort of predicting what the title celebrations would look like? You know, so an open top bus with Inter fans surrounding it, and you know the Inter players doing derogatory chants in the direction of Ibrahimovic. I tell you what really felt like it was you just sometimes we know Inter are going to win the league, but it's just like we knew that when Napoli were going to win the league, and someone made a very good comparison last night to me on Twitter, said it felt like Raspadori's added time volley against Juventus when it was the sort of final hurdle to overcome for Napoli last season. But what it reminded me of a bit last night was how different Inter are to 2 years ago, because that Sommer mistake is not dissimilar really to the Radu mistake at Bologna. It's a slapstick goalkeeping moment. You know, it was Radu scoring an own goal with that Perisic throw back to him, and he swept it it was going across the line, and Nicola Sansone tucked it home. And this was Samardzic just with a shot which just deflected off Carlos Augusto. Dumfries could have stepped in and cleared it. Sommer should have grabbed it. Neither player did anything, and the ball went into the net. And you think, after all the brilliance, after you've been almost flawless throughout this season, to not be able to win the title with 5 games to spare against your great rivals who you're trying to get to 20 titles ahead of because of one shocking moment like that, it just would have felt very unfair. So I think Inter almost deserved to go on and get that winner. And Frattesi just shows that he seems to have a knack for knowing where the ball drops, because that was his 4th attempt of the match. And eventually it was he couldn't really miss.
I had this stat that I was going to bring in, and now I've sort of seen something else, and it's making me sort of laugh at it, because I was thinking, talking about the end of games and Inter being the fino alla fine team really this season, being what Juventus have always wanted to find themselves as. Last 15 minutes of Serie A games, Inter have outscored opponents 18 goals to 1. So if you just play the last 15 minutes, 18 goals to 1. And that's a pretty astonishing statistic, right? No one else is close to that. The thing is, though, because it's Inter, you could pick a different time in the game and go, first 15 minutes, well, they've outscored opponents 10-0 in the first 15 minutes. So actually, they're just outscoring everyone all the time is the point, really, isn't it?
And dare I say it, I don't think statistics, they don't discriminate with added time. So there was 7 minutes of added time in Udinese last night. Actually, 7 awarded. They eventually played 9. So if you think about it, that last window is always just like the window going into half time. But typically you'd only get 2 or 3 minutes max at half time. Whereas ever since the Qatar World Cup, I feel like we're getting 5 or 6 minutes minimum, to be honest.
I just want a second to say that I wrote a piece because Inzaghi's being linked to some big jobs. And I was going through some of my research on Inzaghi over the years, and on April 4th, so on the 1st of April last year, they lost to Fiorentina, Inter, and Gazzetta dello Sport at the time had written, it would be ludicrous to imagine that Inzaghi would still keep his job at the end of the season, and unless he wins the Champions League, and that would be utopian. And it's incredible to see how 1 year later, the man reached the Champions League final, is winning the Scudetto, and he is finally being recognized for the brilliant tactician that he has been, not just at Inter, but at Lazio. So, you know how we were all a little bit happy for Sarri when he was winning at Juventus because he deserved it. He deserved to lift the Scudetto. Spalletti deserved to win it. I think this is Inzaghi's moment, and he really, really deserves to be up there to get the plaudits. And I feel like he's been fighting the shadow of Antonio Conte for so long after he arrived. And then it was, our team wasn't performing. And you know, we look at this team and I'm still not convinced that they're all superstars, by the way. I think there are many good players, but I look at Mkhitaryan and I think that you made this guy such a brilliant force, and you've made so many others, and you've addressed a lot of the weaknesses that people have accused you of before. So congratulations to him. It's not going so well, of course, at Juventus, but Allegri did finally get the win.
Sports Social Podcast Network.